Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy and welcome back to another episode of Foundation Friday for over 50. Thanks for joining me on my journey where I'm looking for a holy grail foundation for those of us with more mature skin. As you know, if you're a mature person, our skin has a whole host of problems that we need a foundation to help to make those things look better. So while I've looked at a lot of foundations, I've only found one holy grail. And, for me, that is my Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet. I know a lot of people always ask, I couldn't watch all of them. Have you found something great yet? Yes, and this is it. So that's the holy grail that I found so far. But hope it always springs eternal, and so I continue the search because there's got to be more than one out there. So in the hot seat today is the Take a Deep Breath Cushion Foundation from Philosophy. This retails for $40 for 0.44 ounces and it comes in 8 shades. Now this foundation is housed in a plastic compact. You open it up and there is a nice mirror in the lid, and then you get the sponge applicator, and below that is the cushion compact. Now this is less of a cushion that I've seen on some other ones where it's literally a sponge that's soaked with foundation. This one is more of a mesh filter that separates the foundation from the outside world, and you use the cushion to apply it. I got this in shade 5, which goes on looking lighter than it does in the compact, but was a pretty good match that I could improve with a little bit of bronzer around the edges. So looking at the ingredients, this is a water and silicone based foundation. 7 of the first 10 ingredients in this are silicones, but it does have a few anti-aging ingredients if you're looking for that in a foundation. It has a mix of plant-based antioxidants and ferment extracts, and it also contains coffee extract, vitamin E, and green tea, so those are more antioxidants. This has an SPF of 20 from a mix of chemical and physical sunscreens. It does contain a little bit of SD alcohol, which I consider to be a drying alcohol if it's high on the ingredient list, but on this list it's about halfway down, so it's not a big issue for me. And it does have a few fragrant extracts, so it does have a little bit of a scent. Alright, so the first day that I tried this foundation, I had a really good day with it. I was filming a video for a makeup haul that I had done, and so I was using a lot of the stuff that I bought that day all together on my skin. And so while this had a really good first day, I wasn't sure if it was because I also used a new primer with it and a new setting powder over it. So let's look at the day 1 footage and see how it looked up close and personal. So using the sponge that comes included with the compact, the foundation went on kind of spotty at first, but with a little work it could be blended and it creates a nice even texture. It offered medium coverage that was good at color correction and covering blemishes. The finish is slightly shinier than I like, so I was really happy to be trying the Laura Mercier powder that day as well to tone it down in some areas. I was happy to see that it looked really good from a distance, and it even seemed slightly smoothing up close. But of course I couldn't tell if that was from the Alginist primer that I used and the Laura Mercier powder, or if it was this foundation. I did shoot some footage of the foundation out in the bright sunshine, and I thought that it looked really good even in bright sunlight. So it wore well throughout the day, and the biggest thing is that it didn't settle in my wrinkles or my pores for the entire day. I think I have one close-up from later on in the day, and it still looked pretty good. So since I had used primer and setting powder on day 1 and had really good results, I thought, well, let me see how it does on its own without that other stuff. And so on day 2 I used it at baseline with no primer and no setting powder. It ended up with kind of a spotty, patchy result, and it was so sheer in some areas that I really didn't like the look of it. So you would just really need to be careful with it when you're putting it on and check it really close in a 15x mirror. So let's go for the 5-hour check-in and see how it wore on its own. Well, as you can see, my success on day 1 was mainly due to the primer and the setting powder. Unfortunately, on its own, this didn't even make it to 5 hours. But the good news is that even without the primer, it didn't settle into wrinkles and it didn't settle into pores. So at the 10-hour check-in, we can see that it has gotten increasingly shiny as the day wears on, especially in my T-zone. And of course, it was worn off. So it really wasn't looking that great at 10 hours on its own. So for day 3, I decided to try it with a different primer and a different setting powder, just to compare for my own purposes. I used the Smashbox Photo Finish Light Primer. I didn't use the sponge that's included with the compact. I did use a damp beauty blender to apply it because I was trying to get it to blend a little bit more smoothly and a little bit easier. And I used my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores HD powder. So I think it's fairly safe to say that the application on this is definitely improved by using a primer. It goes on smoother over primer, more foolproof. You can use a damp sponge and get a good result. Let's go on to the 5-hour check-in. It was wearing well thanks to the Smashbox primer, and the IT powder really helped it to stay matte, especially on my forehead. So at 5 hours, it was looking good, much like day 1. I was having another really good day with it, and I was very happy with it again. At the 10-hour check-in, the wear was still good. I did find this foundation to be fairly moisturizing to wear. All right, so now let's just run it down point by point, and I'll tell you what I thought and give you the verdict on the Philosophy Take a Deep Breath foundation. For the coverage, this is a surprisingly thick formulation for a cushion compact, but it does offer medium to full coverage right out of the package. And this is really great at covering blemishes, age spots, and tonal irregularities. For the finish, this has a soft, dewy finish that is slightly shinier than I like in general, but if you add a little strategically placed setting powder, it can tone down the areas that you want to tone down, but on the rest of the areas, it does give a really lovely, soft, reflective, dewy, youthful finish. It does not settle into pores, so no polka dot face with this, so that is awesome. And with the wrinkles, it did not settle into any wrinkles anywhere. Big wrinkles, little wrinkles, it didn't matter, it didn't sit in them. Unfortunately, the weakness of this foundation is in the wear when used on its own. So when used without a primer, it wore for around 5 hours. I suppose if I had gotten a better application out of it, but again, you need the primer to get the good application. With the primer though, you can get the full day out of it, and it does look pretty darn good all day long. When I touch it, now that it's been on for about a half an hour, it has dried back and set, and it is a very nice face feel. My face feels nice and soft and smooth, and it doesn't feel tacky or sticky. It didn't feel drying to wear at all. It actually felt and looked quite moisturizing. For the phone test, nice sparkly clean phone glass. Ooh. So I'm going to go with fail on the phone test. The last test is the flash photography test. This definitely gives kind of a whitish flashback on flash photography. So are you ready for the final verdict on Philosophy Take a Deep Breath Cushion Compact Foundation? On day 1, I liked it so much that I thought it was going into Holy Grail status. Unfortunately, subsequent wearings revealed that there were a few flaws that kept it out of Holy Grail for me, but I did find out that this is an excellent foundation that can be very, very good on mature skin. If you have dry skin all the way up to combo skin, this could really work well for you. The only people that I would, say maybe try it out first is if you have really oily skin. So while this didn't achieve Holy Grail status, it is a very good foundation, and so the search continues. But we did find a good one today, and I am psyched about that. So everybody, thanks so much for your time. I always appreciate you watching. I hope you found the video helpful and informative. And so have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.